games up, we take an extensive look at Bunny Kingdom, the card drafting and area control game designed by Richard Garfield and published by IELLO. In Bunny Kingdom, you will be expanding the reach of your rabbit clan, spreading out across the various land terrains, and building prosperous cities, all with the aim of being named the most influential bunny clan in the kingdom. Overall, we had fun playing Bunny Kingdom, and we enjoyed seeing our Rabbit Kingdom grow and evolve right in front of us. But this carrot was not as orange as it seemed after the first 2 games. The game plays with 2 to 4 players and takes about 60 minutes to play. The game falls into the light to mid-weight complexity range. Our thoughts about the game come after 1 play at 4 players, 1 play at 3 players, and 3 plays at 2 players. First off, how do we feel about the components and aesthetics of Bunny Kingdom? Well, the game board looks nice. It's colorful, and later during the game, it pops out on the table with all of the different bunnies on it. It is, however, way too small for all that's going on, but more on that later. The little plastic rabbits are very cute, and the plastic cities are nice. The card art is really charming and colorful and features many nice details like movie Easter eggs. The game is theoretically easy to explain. It's a basic card drafting game. There aren't too many special rules or complicated rules that you can get hung up on during the game. But we have still experienced that it can take 2 rounds for everyone to get the hang of how the scoring works. Also, the differences in definition between a territory, a fief, and a city are not always clear and can cause confusion even until the end of the game. 7 Wonders and King of Tokyo brought us into gaming, which is why we were more than excited to try out Bunny Kingdom. You take the card drafting of 7 Wonders and add Richard Garfield, the designer of King of Tokyo. To us, this sounds like a great mixture. And indeed, the first 2 plays were really awesome. Yes, the card drafting is standard, and what mostly felt fresh for us was building up our Bunny Kingdom on a typical chess-like grid. And as is common with card drafting games, you will have the typical dilemma of which card to take. There are so many good options, I want them all, or I don't like any of these cards, I hope the next ones are good. Overall, there are 3 types of cards to choose from during the drafting in Bunny Kingdom. You either choose a territory card to put down a bunny onto a specific spot on the board. You can choose building cards that give you cities of different strengths, special resources, some of which are very rare, and with which you can upgrade your kingdom later on. Or you can get special cards, most of them parchment cards, which are treasures or secret mission cards that can give you extra points at the end of the game. For example, this can be victory points for all rabbits you have along the border of the board, or points for producing a certain amount of one resource. Over 4 rounds, you are going to draft these different cards to build up your kingdom. After each round, the victory points are summed up for your Bunny Kingdom. The points for each fief are hereby calculated by the number of towers from cities that you have in your fief, which is the strength, multiplied by the number of different types of resources produced in that fief, the wealth. So there you have it, simple as that. But of course herein lies a dilemma from which a good drafting game suffers. How should I get points? By collecting many mission cards for game end scoring, by having many little fiefdoms that I control, or having one big connected fief, or some wild mixture of all possibilities. And these decisions were really fun and really kept us excited initially. It felt fresh and it felt like there were several different ways to go for the victory. But sadly we realized quickly that there are better cards in the deck, which are not just better, but also more rare. So those are basically a must-take. And on top of that, we also found that normally one way of playing gives the highest chances of winning. Suddenly the decisions, which were so difficult when we first started playing, were then much easier to make. And on top of that, the game also becomes a little bit more luck-driven because you always hope to be the one to get the better cards in your hand. And with that, the game can also feel more railroaded. There are rounds where the decision of which card to take was very clear. And only sometimes, when you get a hand of cards with many fantastic options, does the dilemma of drafting pop up again and the fun returns. As we mentioned earlier, the board can quickly get overwhelmed with rabbits, castles, and resource tokens, And this is especially a problem in the later rounds of the game when you have to count up a lot of points and pay attention to all of the icons on the board. Everything is smushed and overlapping a little, and it can be difficult to see everything on the board. The board was expanded, made larger, which you can now acquire this larger board, which we're hoping makes things a little easier during the gameplay and for the end of round scoring. But with a little bit of focus and concentration, the smaller board was not a big problem for us, and it wasn't a game breaker. In terms of player count, the game plays best with 3 and 4 players. It does kind of work with 2 players with some special rules for the drafting, but it wouldn't be our go-to game for 2 players, which is often the case for us with drafting games. They most often shine at higher player counts. And with the added area control aspect, the game is definitely less tight at 2 players. The map is more open since it doesn't shrink, and you generally have less interference or blocking of one another. And because the special rule applies that you have to discard cards in a 2-player game during the drafting, there's definitely some hate drafting that goes on. That is also more easily possible, but because you can quite readily keep track of the progress and strategy of your one opponent, you can figure out which cards they likely want. And even if you don't want to be mean, it's hard to not discard a card that would be beneficial to your competitor. So in a 2-player game, discarding cards to keep them out of the hands of your opponent definitely happens quite a lot, even for us who are normally more friendly, less aggressive players. And therefore, Bunny Kingdom is not really a 2-player game for us. So in the end, for us, Bunny Kingdom is not the perfect mixture we were hoping it to be. We were never actually bothered by the more tedious victory point counting that occurs at the end of the game. It was mostly the strength of some cards and the lack of strategic options which reduced the replayability of the game quite quickly. Bunny Kingdom is best played with a new group of people, and maybe even used to introduce gaming to new people. Bunny Kingdom is not a game we would bring to the table every day or over and over again, but every once in a while it does offer a really fun time when playing it with friends. We enjoy seeing our little bunnies spreading out over the land, but we don't have that urge to keep playing it due to the limited decision space it offers. We would recommend Bunny Kingdom to people who love card drafting and are looking for a lighter game that combines card drafting with area control, and for people who don't mind that there are limited successful strategies and some dominant cards, increasing the luck of the draw. The game looks great, it's really cute, and can appeal to casual gamers, and maybe every once in a while to more experienced gamers.
Thank you for watching Games Up. See you next time.